Este deja online, da? Francisco, it's already streamed online? Okay, super. So, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the third day of the conference, Textiles and War in Europe and the Mediterranean, from prehistory to late antiquity. We are very happy to see you so many here today for a very special event. The official launching of the EuroWeb Digital Atlas of European Textile Heritage. It's a project that has been started almost 3 years ago in 2020, and we are very happy today to launch it online. And there are many important people that participated to the fulfillment of this project. So for the beginning, I'm going to invite Agata Ulanowska, the chair of the cost action EuroWeb, Europe Through Textiles, to give us an introductory speech.
Hello, good morning. Hello, everyone. Perhaps I should say that let's start with information that the Digital Atlas of European Textile Heritage is definitely the vital dissemination tool and stands as one of the most important deliverables of our action. And just to remind those who might know or who might follow us online, our action, which is the cost action CA 19-131, Europe Through Textiles Network for an Integrated and Interdisciplinary Humanities, with the acronym EuroWeb, establishes a pan-European network of scholars and stakeholders from different disciplines across academia, museums, conservation, cultural and creative industries. And within a quite limited time span, because our action started in 2020 and ends in the next year, 2024, it aims to formulate, it's a really ambitious aim, a new vision for European history centered around textiles, their mass production, trade, economics, and symbolic meanings, consumption, and reuse. And now comes the Digital Atlas of European Textile Heritage, which offers a captivating portal into the alternative history of Europe, documenting the extensive material culture associated with textile production and consumption. So through visually mapping the textile heritage across Europe and throughout different time periods, starting from the Neolithic and coming to the modernity, the Digital Atlas conveys the essence of the EuroWeb motto, EuroWeb Through Textiles. So I'm delighted and honored today to take part in this official launch. This is a remarkable collaborative task that engaged all working groups in our actions and indeed many EuroWeb members. And it was organized, monitored, and everything, like huge job, by the Digital Atlas team with Angela Huang, who was until today the main leader of the Atlas team, and two great vice leaders, Alina Iancu and Catarina Costeira. And I would like to say that the two vice leaders are taking the main leading position today. And this is also the moment to thank Angela for her great time-consuming work and to welcome the new leaders. The Digital Atlas team includes also Mikkel Nortoft, Maxim Mordovin, Julie Unruh, and Eva Andersson Strand. And I thank all of the team members for their excellent job. Our technical partner is the Digital Competences Center of the University of Warsaw and Piotr Kasprzyk. And I would like to make a remark that the Digital Competence Center is already specializing in databases and digital tools for textile studies, because according to my knowledge, the Digital Atlas is the third project they develop in textile studies, including my own database, Textiles and Steel. And lastly, I would like to emphasize that the present form of the Digital Atlas has emerged through a multitude of meetings, workshops, hackathons, and extensive networking efforts. So I think it's the best to symbolize what is the cost action about. It's about networking, and it was like intensive and huge networking to establish this atlas with important contribution from terminology working group, because there were certain issues with terminology, and with a lot of challenges how to overcome different copyrights across the European countries. It was just a titanic job. So Angela, Alina, and Catarina, I offer my heartfelt thanks once again for your unwavering dedication, and I extend my congratulations to all those who involved in this monumental, I would say, undertaking. And let us also remember that what we're going to unveil today is merely the beginning, and we are going to continue and develop the atlas after this launch. Thank you.
Now we can share the PowerPoint. And we will give a few insights about the challenges that that we overcome, and about the aims of the atlas, and also about the content of this new database. Okay, so if I'm trying to use this, or maybe we can take the mouse also. Okay. And I'm giving the word now, the floor, to Catarina Costeira. The other one.
Good morning. The EuroWeb Digital Atlas of Textile Heritage is a deliverable of the cost action EuroWeb, Europe through Textile. The purpose of the Digital Atlas is to communicate textile as an integral part of a rich and diverse European cultural heritage to a broader academic public and interested citizens. The Digital Atlas mapping evidence on the material culture of textiles in Europe from prehistory until the 20th century. The focus lies in the data compiled by the EuroWeb members for their own research. To tell a story across time and space, the depth of information from individual interests is deliberately limited in favor of a great number of observations and a wider variety of data. The information in the Digital Atlas is standardized, simplified, scientifically validated, open access, and reusable. The construction of the Digital Atlas has promoted the development of an international collaborative and voluntary network made up of researchers with different skill sets. The Digital Atlas team is made up of 6 researchers, mainly archaeologists and historians, from different countries, which have the technical support of Piotr Kasprzyk. The advisory board of the Digital Atlas is made up of 6 senior researchers. This core team has the support of the EuroWeb member network, mainly for data upload. All work carried out by the Atlas team has been voluntary. In the first 2 years of this project, the work carried out was mostly digital and remote, which allowed regular meetings to be held between members of the core team, sometimes on a weekly and monthly basis, including a significant number of participants in workshops and training sessions, and prepared various dissemination actions. This year, the first in-person events for preparing and uploading data began, which constitute an important initiative to be developed in the future.
Okay. So during the last years, we undertook this project, but many other groups and people helped us a lot. First of all, it's very important to mention that we have the help of the terminology working group in the EuroWeb cost action. They helped us a lot because while you are building such a database, you need to have a proper terminology We intend it to be used also by researchers, by the broad public. So they help us a lot to implement a proper terminology into the atlas. Other things like information about the nature of the dyes that are decorating all the textiles that are defined in the atlas were based on the documentation that was provided by the EuroWeb working group specialized in historical dyes. And we have here Ignat Petrovic, a representative today with us, and we are very happy about that. And the database includes also a list of contributors that it is online right now, and I am sure that in the future it will be much bigger because other people will contribute in the future to the development of the database, and it shows the people that help us to select, prepare, and to import data into the atlas. Regarding the content of this database, the EuroWeb Digital Atlas was designed to accommodate a wide range of textile resources spanning from prehistory up to the 20th century AD, as textile evidence preserved through millennia show a great diversity. 4 main sections were added into the atlas in order to organize the information and to offer a clearer image over the textile cultures that distinguish different European regions across history, as long as textile evidence maintained over millennia show tremendous variations. We call these sections textiles, textile tools, workshops, and cloth seals. Each of these groups benefited of a unique database structure which fits some cataloging schemes according to the nature and kind of the materials that were included into the atlas. The primary goal was to establish a database that was simple to access for both the general public wishing to learn more about textiles and by researchers. Textile section includes many archaeological finds that might be either fiber, basic textile elements like threads or yarns, textile fragments of an unidentified function due to their fragile state of preservation, or clothes, garments, and accessories like head accessories, cords, bands, and others. The so-called utilitarian textiles, which include a variety of home textiles and other products used in trade, transportation, and combat, such as ropes, sails, and tents, also belong to this section. Also, the medieval magnificent clerical robes and royal clothes, which were not necessarily discovered during archaeological excavation, but are preserved in antique collections all over Europe, are included here. However, this group contains more than just the more expensive items. There are also common fabrics included and clothing items. Additionally, it is made to fit a wide diversity of ethnographic goods, such as textile manufacture from hand-spun yarn and woven on traditional looms with handcrafted embroidery, and other traditional embellishments. The second category of objects in the EuroWeb Digital Atlas is called textile tools, and it includes implements that have been used for centuries or even millennia by craftspeople to process textile fibers and create fabrics. All the stages of cloth production were included in this section based on our current knowledge and understanding of the development of textile technologies from prehistory onwards. The preparation of raw fibers using combs and carding and teasel tools are displayed through specific objects. The transformation of fibers into threads through spinning is documented by spindle wheels, spindles, spinning wheels, distaffs, but also by spinning balls or epinetra, which is an ancient Greek knee protector for spinning. Numerous loom weights, as well as loom or loom components, sword beaters, shuttles abundantly provide documentation for weaving, one of the key processes in the manufacture of textiles. The atlas also contains bone and metal pins, which are evidence of sewing. Nevertheless, it also includes equipment that reveal other various arts-related activities, scissors, knitting and crocketing needles, and other comparable items can all be found in this section. All of this varied data paints a nuanced picture of textile technologies that were prevalent during each historical era in various European regions, providing atlas users with the opportunity to learn more about the unique characteristic of each textile craft. But the history of Europe through textiles cannot be understood only by studying individual objects, tools, or textile fabrics, regardless of how famous, beautiful, exquisite, expensive, or older they are. Other elements prove to be helpful in enlarging our vision over the origins and evolution of textile arts through history. For these reasons, two main sections were added into the atlas. A collection of prehistoric, there are first of all the clothes seals that are an important part of the medieval trade system, and they are made of lead usually. And it's very important because this is one of the most dynamic features of the atlas, because these sections gives the opportunity to, by a single click, to display on the map the provenience place and the found place of the seals. This is very important, and also a collection of prehistoric, ancient, or medieval buildings that were used in the past for domestic or centralized textile manufacture is referred into the atlas as textile workshops. These production places are attested either through archaeological excavations, especially in the case of prehistoric and ancient workshops. Some others are mentioned in historical documents or still exist today, the vast majority of the last two categories being rather medieval and modern workshops. For each of them, the precise or approximate location is indicated on the map, and a description explaining what type of textile activities were carried out is given. We argue that this section of the atlas is a significant addition that provides glimpses into the activity of highly skilled artisans, narrating about traditions specific in some European regions in various historical periods, and bringing insights about the natural potential of some areas that determine the development of specialized textile industries. See, for example, in the atlas, the example of purple dye activities that took place in many workshops flourishing in antiquity around the Gulf of Corinth, Greece, that are documented into the EuroWeb Digital Atlas, both through archaeological data and ancient literary instances. Therefore, the EuroWeb Digital Atlas of European Textile Heritage features a wide range of sources that illustrate the richness of our shared European textile heritage about the origins and development of textile crafts, about the artisans who process the fibers, bringing innovations and practicing sophisticated techniques that allow them to weave elaborate fabrics. Many of the objects that are stored into the atlas were described and catalogued according to a standardized scheme, which implied the use of controlled vocabularies previously implemented into the database. Thus, the terms associated with the textile fabrics or textile tools added in the EuroWeb are assigned from a predefined list proposed by the working group specialized in textile terminology, while the design of the closed seal section benefited of the knowledge of a seal specialist in textile workshops, and the dyes, of course, where it's a section updated by our colleagues specialized in dyes. We thank them very much for that.
So as you will see below, the Digital Atlas currently has a significant amount of data on the European textile heritage, very diversified in chronological and spatial terms, although the empty spaces and times are still very expressive in some areas. We hope that the Digital Atlas will be an opportunity to highlight the textile heritage in Europe, especially in countries where this research topic is still underrepresented. This output makes possible the widespread dissemination of a fragile and fragmented heritage, which cannot always be appropriately displayed in museum rooms. The creation and development of the Digital Atlas has been possible with the involvement of many young researchers, and therefore we hope that will be an incentive to increase interest in the study of textile heritage in younger generations. The choice of English as the only language of the Digital Atlas in the first phase of the development aims at a more effective dissemination of knowledge. However, in the future, other languages may be included in the Digital Atlas, thus reflecting and promoting Europe's rich and diverse linguistic heritage. We hope that in the future, the Digital Atlas will be able to improve and inspire new projects related to textile heritage. A project with the level of ambition of the Atlas, Digital Atlas, poses multiple challenges in the short, medium, and long term. Now, the big challenges consist of encouraging researchers to share their data, keeping the balance between scientific rigor and simplicity in communication, and translate into English linguistic heritage as diverse as the associated with textile cultures. Next, it is necessary to reduce the spatial and chronological gaps of the atlas to allow storytelling on a larger scale. In the long term, it is necessary to guarantee the maintenance and updating of the digital atlas after the end of the EuroWeb project.
Now I invite Francesco Gomez to give a speech. He's from Portugal. He's the specialist in communication in our action and a very good archaeologist that it is also involved in the study of textiles. And he will give us some insights about the future of this project.
Thank you very much, Alina. I would like to start by thanking the Digital Atlas team and especially Alina and Catarina for asking me to also say some words as the science communication coordinator for EuroWeb. And I think it makes sense, not for myself, but because of the importance that the Atlas has had throughout our entire project as a talking point for the communication and the dissemination of the project. It was one of the main features that we've really explored and that we've really used to capture the attention of different stakeholders in different contexts, from those more specialized to those more general. And it has been a great resource and a great asset in promoting the action and in raising awareness about the action and the work that we do in EuroWeb. And that is why in the recently approved EuroWeb communication plan, the Digital Atlas has a very strong presence and is very heavily featured. And I will say some words first so that you can understand the importance of the Atlas. I will say just some words about some aspects of this communication plan. And specifically, I would like to mention today that in this action plan, we have strategically, through our experience in EuroWeb and through our experience contacting with different stakeholders, and also taking into consideration the goals of the action, we have defined some main goals for our communication, such as to foster international, interdisciplinary, and cross-sector dialogue, to raise the profile of textile research in pursuit of this goal that Agata also mentioned before, of promoting a re-examination of European history through the lens of textiles, to promote the awareness on the material and intangible textile heritage, to inspire dialogues between textile scholars and people beyond academia, craftspeople, designers, textile artists, pushing the boundaries of this textile the technology too. And finally, also to position our project as a project that contributes also to contemporary society and contemporary societal challenges, namely by giving our input and contributing to debates about the sustainability and social responsibility of the textile and fashion industries. And in the same line, we have these goals, we have our key messages that we want to transmit, and of course, we have also our key audiences, our key publics, which include obviously textile researchers and textile craftspeople and people working in museums and with textile heritage in different contexts, but also because this is also a bit the spirit of cost actions, other stakeholders beyond academia, including funding agencies, textile industry representatives, cultural and heritage decision and policymakers, and also with this last line that I mentioned before of contributing to the sustainability of the fashion and textile industry, it is important to reach out to environmental decision and policymakers beyond obviously the general public, which in our experience throughout the project has shown much interest in this topic of textiles and textile heritage. So we aim to, with our communication activities, we aim to reach these publics and to transmit a few key selected messages, including the need to enhance the research on textiles and their social, cultural, and economic and aesthetic roles through cross-sector collaboration and dialogue, to make it very clear that textile research and innovation is a vibrant and interdisciplinary field which is deserving of incentive and further funding, that textile research can make a positive impact on society and contribute to current social debates, that ancient textiles or historical and traditional textiles are a valuable resource for inspiring creativity and contemporary artistic expression, that they are a key component of Europe's cultural heritage, and that this accumulated historical data that we've been gathering through EuroWeb can be a useful resource, a useful asset to think about and inspire alternative, more sustainable and responsible production and consumption practices. But this is not a presentation about the communication plan. This is a presentation about the digital atlas that we are going to be able to enjoy starting today. And therefore, what I wanted to really say is the role that the digital atlas has played and will continue to play in the communication of our action, in the communication of EuroWeb. First of all, the atlas has been and will continue to be, and now that it is launched, I think it will be even more so, an asset and an instrument to opening clear avenues of collaboration, because here the collaboration is very direct, it's very straightforward. You have your data and you have this platform where you can share it, where you can work with it, where you can collaborate on bridging those gaps in time and space that Alina also mentioned before. On the other hand, the digital atlas has also been, as I also mentioned before, a very useful tool in creating buzz around generating attention and capturing attention of different agents and different stakeholders in different contexts. We have, for example, the experience of presenting and talking about the atlas to the general public in the Festival of the New European Bauhaus in Belgium. And we quickly realized that people are very interested in these kinds of digital tools, and they are very interested in textiles. So but also for academic settings, even for settings with public institutions, heritage-related institutions, the digital atlas has always been a very useful talking point, and one that really captures the attention of the different stakeholders that we want to dialogue with. And of course, now that it is launched, it will be, I think, the main, together with the website, but even more so, the main calling card for the action and for its work. This is where the work that the action did is really showcased to its fullest potential, and will be even more so as more data comes in. And this is a calling card for the action and its work in different settings and to different stakeholders. Of course, for textile researchers and people in the textile field, as a tool that can be used for dissemination, to communicate their own data, to communicate the textile heritage more generally, but also beyond the academia, because, for example, for funding agencies, we know that at the moment, digital humanities are a bit of a buzzword, are very much in the order of the day, very much fashionable, and to have such platforms and to be able to demonstrate that textile research can produce these really ambitious and really complete and really motivating digital tools is very useful. And of course, also we can use it as a base for these discussions and for these talks about contributing to societal changes and contemporary societal changes beyond these more academic and funding related activities. And finally, of course, as a general notion, the digital atlas is a great tool to support research, support outreach, and we hope in the future we can even make it more of a storytelling kind of tool. And I'm almost finished, I promise. And I just want to say that the digital atlas also has a key importance as a tool to ensure the legacy of EuroWeb once the funding period is over, as a tool to maintain contact and momentum, to act as a shared platform that will take this network forward into the future, to congregate the efforts and resources of current members and future people who come into this field later on, and to support new projects and new structures at the national and the international level. So for all of this, we really have to thank the Digital Atlas team, especially Angela, Alina, Catarina, Piotr, and all of the other members of the advisory board. So thank you very much for your very hard work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Francisco. This project also was not possible without the help and the very hard work of a colleague from the Digital Center of the Center of Digital Competences in the University of Warsaw, Piotr Kasprzyk. And I hope that we can get in touch with him on Zoom so that he can give also a speech today. Now let's say if Piotr hears us and if he can connect. We can eventually stop the... Yes, super. We can eventually stop the share. Yeah, wonderful.
Perfect. So if you can hear me, thanks for giving me this opportunity. I think I'm hearing myself, but...
We don't have a
okay. If you can hear me well without echo, that's good enough. Thank you very much.
Very well. Yeah.
Perfect. So there were many thanks expressed today, but I'll still like to take this opportunity to thank the whole Atlas team. Because even though I am listed here and have been introduced as the technical lead, it is only them that made Atlas possible. In no particular order, Mikkel, Julie, Alina, Catarina, Angela, Maxim, thank you very much for the advice provided during our numerous meetings. Thank you for the stimulating conversations on the shape and nature of the Atlas. And thank you for your hard work in seeding Atlas with initial data, testing new features, and providing graphics and texts to make it look as it does today. I have to say I'm really proud of the history and results of this project, especially because it exemplifies an extremely important truth about creating scientific databases. I think I mentioned it some years ago when I was being introduced to the EuroWeb project, that it's very important to see the project as a whole. It's important to think of the intended usage at when creating the data model. Basically, you cannot store all the existing information about an object. You can't even store everything you know about it in a database. Modeling data as a process that's just lossy inherently. This means you need to know which data aspects you are going to need, which ones you won't use, and how to structure this data. So we spend a lot of time discussing the scope of Atlas, both internally and with other EuroWeb members. And in the earlier phase of the project, we made numerous changes to the structure until we reached the current state. As many of you know, the result is a hard compromise in a struggle to include more data and adequately describe all the archaeological objects on one hand, and being able to collect more data points and present them to laymen, to the people on the street, so to speak, on the other hand. Again, I'm proud on the result of this joint effort, because while I feel really confident in my knowledge of data modeling and database design, I know next to nothing about textile archaeology. So only by combining our knowledge could we achieve success. I'd also like to take this opportunity that I'm here to give out advice to future project leaders. Don't ever believe you can hand in specifications to a developer and a year later or so get the product you want, or more importantly, the product you need. It requires constant communication, iterations, and real engagement from both sides. It's hard. It's time-consuming, but it's worth it. Onto the more technical side of things. That's why I'm here to speak about that. I'd also like to thank the team for allowing me to follow my strong belief that I've held for most of my professional career, that bespoke is better. While there are ready-made tools for storing and exploring data available, in my experience, sooner or later, you find yourself working around the limitations of a tool and do what is easy, or in fact possible, instead of doing what you want. This is why we have built, and Alina and Catarina have shown to you, a custom backend application using Python programming language with Django framework and a frontend based on Leaflet library. We have currently almost 4,000 objects simultaneously displayed on the map, with the current model containing over 50 database tables. It allows not only to store and query all the aspects of 4 classes of entities, so textiles, textile tools, cloth seals, and textile workshops, but it also provides user access management and allows uploading of custom images. The structure is also easily extendable. While the current frontend enables filtering data using 10 criteria, this limit is a deliberate decision to keep users from feeling overwhelmed. So should we decide in the future of Atlas to add new user accessible filters or even new map views that focus, for instance, on textile colors or their sources, we are free to do that with relatively small effort, building on top of the current application. So when doing a custom-made solution, you have the world at your fingertips. Given time and will, you can have anything. Dare to dream big, and thanks to all of you for this shared dreaming experience that is Atlas. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Piotr. We were very happy to have you here today, even if you are not in Bucharest. And now I would like to speak a little bit about the importance of local, national institutions that helped the fulfillment of this project. So we have an atlas, and we did a database and the map. It all looked nice, but we needed the data to import and to fill in with, to enrich the map. And we were very excited here today to have some of the officialities from the Romanian National Institute of Heritage. And I will invite Bogdan Shandric to speak a little bit about this project in the context of our activity at the National Institute of Heritage of Romania.
I will speak a little bit. Thank you very much. I try to speak about a specific phase of a project. We are an institute of research, National Heritage Institute or National Institute of Heritage, something like that. I really don't know the name in English of my institute. It's an institute who has to deal with research, documentation, but also to different kind of projects who has to create instruments. The big problem, the big challenge is how to combine the needs and the interests of the people who work for the institute and with the mission of the institute. So it's very hard to have researchers who sometimes they have their own needs and their own expertise and their own interest and the mission of the institute. We do that, and we did that. And a good example is Alina. He's preoccupied, like you know, in textile and archaeology and things like that. We have to do databases. We have to promote, we have to disseminate, we have to research and to put online information, data about heritage. So we create this kind of connection. We say, we take your interest and we combine the interest with our mission. And what we created is what you saw. So the key element, the key word is synergy. In Europe, a lot of people are talking about synergies among projects. So between projects, how projects who create synergies. In that case, we had synergy between people and missions, between people and institute. And I think this is the key of the future. If we want to keep our people, to keep our colleagues in our institute, and I'm not talking only about Heritage Institute in Romania, I'm talking about all kinds of institutes in the Europe. We have to attract them, to offering them, to give them the chance to develop themselves like researchers under the umbrella of the institute. And this is what we are trying to do. I'm talking about our department. I'm not talking about the entire institute. Maybe other people have other ways, other methods. But this is what we are trying to do. Every day we are asking people to think, to dream about projects where their expertise and their interest to be combined with the mission of the institute, and to develop something new, not to in the end to have something new, to have a new creation. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bogdan. And I'm also taking this opportunity to thank to all my colleagues that spent many days and hours to select data and to translate them into English in order to enrich the Romanian map. And not only, especially Tatiana Iorganda, who is here, and Georgiana Dinu, they helped a lot. And I'm very grateful for that. And we hope that many other institutions all around Europe in the future will be able and will be motivated to provide data for the Atlas. We'll be very happy to collaborate with you in the future. And now I will also invite the Romanian cost representative for the EuroWeb cost action, Irina Petroviciu and Florica Mățău, to say a few words.
So thank you very much, Alina. Thank you very much, our host, the Levant Institute. I would like very much to share with you the enthusiasm of us as Romanian representatives of the Management Committee of EuroWeb, of being part of this initiative. And I think I would also add some words about what this initiative would the benefits of such an initiative for our Romanian network. And I will start with the beginning. Actually, I will be short, but I need to say some things. Everything started in 2020 when, during the pandemic, we received an email that the application was successful. And then we found that on the list of about 100 participants who participated in the initiative, there are 6-7 Romanian colleagues. And then I've been working for more than 25 years in the Romanian Museum Network and chemists working on dyes. Of course, dyes are on textiles in very close connection. But then I found that within these 6-7 colleagues are not people from the museums, or not only people from the museum. So there was Florica Zaharia, the Textile Museum, who is extremely well known. But then there were a lot of other colleagues who have completely different approaches regarding textiles. And so I was extremely happy to meet again Florica Mățău, who I just met at a local meeting working on textile tools. Then I met Alina and Liviu, and working again on textile tools, on textiles and wear. And then I also met Constanța Vintilă, who is a historian working on who is specialized in the history of the 17th and 18th century. And of course, she's also dealing with textile and luxurious textiles and trade. And so I thought it's great. We have so many different approaches on textiles. And so everything was then we also built our teams, and we, I think, managed to bring 20-30 Romanian colleagues being active in the initiative. So I would like to underline that actually the greatest thing in EuroWeb was that we meet each other, and then we learned to organize ourselves in national and international networks. And I hope we'll strengthen this opportunity within a local meeting on textiles, which we hope to organize the next year, and start with all the various perspectives textiles could be approached from the contribution of archaeozoology or cartology to the traditional and modern textiles. So within the project, I was also very happy to work closer with colleagues with whom European colleagues with whom I worked before on dyes, and I will mention here the Portuguese colleagues, Maria Melo and Paula Nabais, with whom we worked on the digital atlas, and also we contributed together with an article in the anthology. So I'm extremely grateful for all those who made all these things possible. So I would like to mention Marie-Louise Noche as initiator of this project, and Agata Ulanowska, who is the actual chair and the project leader, and all the working group leaders, and all the people having part, and all of you working in textiles. And I'm happy we have this first meeting in Romania. We have the launch of the Digital Atlas here, and we'll have this year another workshop or training school in Romania dealing with traditional textiles. And it will be in autumn, August, September, probably, in the Textile Museum in Băița. So I would also like to say my kindest gratitude to Francisco, who always promoted our work, and so Liviu for having the courage to organizing this meeting here. And so I really hope that EuroWeb is just the beginning, and so we'll have the national network of people working in textiles, and we continue to work and develop new projects and then international level. Thanks.
I would also like to thank Alina and Liviu for hosting the meeting at the Institute of Lervad, and also, of course, Agata for coming here, and Marie-Louise for initiating and putting all of us together in this, from the archaeology, from the prehistoric archaeology up to the very modern textiles. And so we have a very different chronological approaches, and also, as Irina already said, very different insights on actually the same topic, textiles, that actually today brings us here. And of course, I would like to thank Alina and Catarina and all the people who work and uploaded or will upload data to the Digital Atlas. So thank you all for
Thank you very much. So we heard a lot about textiles today and about the Atlas, and the Atlas can be officially accessed online. It is a free resource. Anybody on the internet can just go on the official EuroWeb page and just go to the section dedicated to the Digital Atlas and access it. There you can find also information about how to contact the team if people want to contribute, if they want to give suggestions. And to help or to become maybe to do some voluntary work for the Atlas, to select some data from their own research. This is a very good way to valorize your own data that you are working with. Just prepare some tables with some tools or with some textiles and send them to us, and we will upload them into the Atlas, and they will be there online, and we will cite your own work also. And I'm very happy that you all met here today. And we are waiting in the future to be contacted. The official EuroWeb Gmail address is email address is on the screen, and it can also be accessed on the official site. Thank you very much to all of you. And of course, we also would like to thank me and Catarina, and we want to thank to the other colleagues from the team that couldn't be with us today, but they helped us a lot, and they worked a lot, and they are an integrated part of the team, and they did a great job. And I must say that without their help, this Atlas was not possible. So thank you for everything. And now we will close this meeting. Because the conference should follow its course, and there will be a next panel of communication in the Textiles and Work Conference. Thank you very much to all of you that came today here. Okay, so we will start the live streaming now.